Hey, you guys, what is up? Welcome to J House. Happy Tuesday. Hope all of you guys are doing well. Hope all of you are doing good. It's cold outside, heart freeze, but it's also cold out here in the Star Wars community. As today, the Twitter timeline is abuzz and talking with all kinds of rumors about the new Jedi Order movie being canceled or delayed indefinitely. There's all types of talk going on about just Rey in general as a character or the new Jedi Order movie and what they are going to do as far as moving forward. But what I can say is that there are definitely two sides of the conversation that I'm seeing and ones that I've been having. If you were here on the last live, we talked about I had Stone Star Wars Theories on, and he presented the first side of this topic in this debate about the sequel trilogy, and it was one that was more nuanced and balanced, understanding, why some people might defend the sequel trilogy, understanding why people can relate to the sequel trilogy, and that's a fair perspective on that side of it. And then, of course, there's the other side where some people just don't like it. They like it for a countless number of reasons that have been repeated over and over again, and those are perfectly understandable perspectives too. So, my position with the Rey movie and the new Jedi Order movie as a whole has been trying to understand. And if you've seen all my tweets and all my posts, you can see that it's always about how can they make Rey a better character? What can they do to make Rey a palpable character or a good character and sort of pacify those mistakes that were made in the sequel trilogy? And the answer seems to be straightforward, but for director Charmin Obey Chinoy and for Rey and for Daisy Ridley or whatever writers they have who've cooked up the story, it might not be something like that. It might be something unexpected, but we don't know yet. And pretty soon we're going to find out. But other than that, man, it's been a journey trying to understand what the Star Wars fandom wants, because you can have, you know what I'm saying, obviously the dislikes of Rey. I mean, we talk about The Force Awakens all the time. We talk about everything that went on with her character, And with this next 30-40 minutes, I kind of want to explore all these different moments that made uh that made us question what it was we were seeing with Ray. And so of course, it all starts with the Force Awakens. That is, without a shadow of a doubt, that's where it all began, where all the questions began of like, okay, who is Ray? What is she? Why is she so powerful? And then where do we go from there? So let's revisit that, because I love to revisit that. I want to take it back to that first fight. As a matter of fact, take it back to that first fight on Star Killer Base in Episode 7, and then I'll sort of walk you through exactly what I was thinking and exactly where I was. So here we go. Here is, I think this is the what the heck. I mean, everyone was already pretty curious to begin with, but I think this is where people were like, okay, what's going on here? So here we go. Not necessarily, but yes. Okay, officially in that moment, I was like, all right, this is weird, because this is not something that we're used to. This is not something we've seen before. We don't normally, I mean, there's some sort of training to this that happens. And so obviously in the back of Star Wars fans' minds, people who are definitely familiar with the lore and tend to stay loyal to what the lore has shown both in the books and in certain circumstances the movies, that kind of threw everyone for a curveball. Threw me for a curveball, because I'm like, that's going to cause a lot of questions. That's going to raise a lot of questions, because we've never seen someone just pick up a lightsaber without any kind of formal Jedi training at all and win. We've never seen it before, and I don't think it makes any logical sense for it to happen now. So that right there was number one. We raised that question from day one with the Force Awakens, and everyone had their sort of jaws dropped by it. So let's go a little bit further. Now, here's the part. The duel, everyone's going on about the duel, and the duel is what it is at this point. But here's where things get interesting, because the number one the debate that I hear is that, oh, Kylo was wounded by a blaster bolt, and he wasn't really, you know what I'm saying, he couldn't really focus, and that's why he, lost this battle or whatever. We can clearly see in the battle that Kylo has Rey on the ropes. That doesn't look like he's wounded to me. Looks like he's got somebody against the ropes. here's where things go crazy, and where this is where a lot of people's problem with Rey began. Now, people say Kylo didn't lose, but I'm sorry. When someone does that to you, you lost. Period. You lose in a lightsaber duel. If someone does that to you, you lose. So there's no, I've heard some debates. Some people say, oh, he didn't lose. He was just wounded and, because of blah, blah. Bro, he lost, bro. He lost. And that's where the controversy begins. How did he lose? Why did he lose to Rey? And before people, go on their tangent, it has nothing to do. Let's go ahead and get this out the way. It has nothing to do with Rey being a woman. All of these, misogynist and sexist claims that, oh, people don't like Rey because, she's a woman, and the nerds just couldn't stand the fact that a woman beat a guy in a lightsaber. Bro, we've been seeing Ahsoka for almost a decade plus destroy everyone in lightsaber duels and battle. It has nothing to, I promise you, it has nothing to do with Rey being a woman. That's not why the fandom menace or the fans were upset. That's not why. They were upset because of the lack of answers there, the lack of structure around that scene. And that's what started off this whole debate about Rey. That's what started off the hate against Rey, because there's no foundation for that. How does she know how to use a lightsaber? We've never seen a force sensitive just come out the gate and use a lightsaber like it was nothing. We ain't never seen that before. Luke didn't do it. Anakin, Obi-Wan didn't do it. No one did it. Ahsoka didn't do it. They all went through training. They all earned that before they were able to do such amazing feats. And so for Rey to beat a fully trained person like Kylo, who she should have lost to, that you already knew that they already knew that was going to start controversy, and it seems like they just didn't care. So, I mean, now here we are at the precipice of the new Jedi Order movie, and people are wondering, well, why should we support a Rey movie? And I'm like, I'm trying to find as much as I can positive about the whole situation to try to justify why. But it seems like inherently there's just not going to be that, because even in episode now that battle could have been forgiven. That battle could have been forgiven. It could have been. It could have been forgiven if Luke wouldn't have been a hermit. If Luke would have spent more time training Rey, if he would have actually trained Rey instead of talking about why the Jedi should end, and actually got into some real formal Jedi training to help Rey, it would have been more understandable. It would have been understood as to why, things are the way they are and why Rey was so powerful. Yeah, and I think in retrospect, that battle could have been forgiven if TLJ would have taken Rey right into Jedi training, or having that little argument with Luke about what's going on, and then he changes his mind and he actually trains her. But that's not what we got. Here's what we got instead. For people who think that lightsaber training and then growing up fighting with a staff equate to anything, no, it doesn't. It's always been a technique to using a lightsaber. There's always been training that under a master of some sorts to help with that. But okay. So Rey's doing her best. She's doing her best here. What really should have happened in this scene, what really should have happened in this scene is Luke getting down there with her and teaching her. Instead of being a hermit and talking about blah, 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 what went wrong, he could have been helping her this whole scene. That's why I give Rey the benefit of the doubt in TLJ, because she went to the island to train, to get help, to learn and understand her power. But Rian Johnson failed her in failing Luke and making Luke a hermit, because it makes no sense. So she's just sitting here fondling with a lightsaber, and and the man who's supposed to be training her is just sitting there watching. You know, I don't care what reason he has. That battle could have been excused. It could have been excused. So it makes no sense. Like, obviously, she's unrefined, but she needs a teacher, which is why Luke is there. And what does Luke do? What does Luke do? He walks off. He walks off. So yet again, that's just another one of those things that in the sequel trilogy, in the sequel trilogy or in The Last Jedi, she needed that. She needed him to be there to train. Now, I promise you, people wouldn't hate Rey as much if Luke actually would have trained her. I promise you that. Let's see, Dan. What up, Dan? Thanks for joining. Rey had about 2 of the 3 lessons from Jake. All this sparring she does with the staff. That is true. Doesn't amount to much in the end. No, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't amount to anything in the end, because Luke wasn't there to train. He wasn't there to do his job as a master. They had to go and do this whole woe is me, sad Luke thing, which I didn't agree with. Some people may like, and that's fine. But as far as for Rey and helping her, it doesn't do anything. Let me adjust my footing here, especially when all this means nothing, because she can activate her true powers, which is pulling. Yeah, it's just crazy, man. And so now here we are, and I've already ran through the Rise of Skywalker and told you guys what goes down with that. Like, let's see. Let's see which clip it is, I think. Like, we've already ran through this, but I just showed TFA, Force Awakens. Okay. And now here's Rise of
Hear the voices
Skywalker,
of the Jedi who came before.
where she's actually training. Right? So she's actually training now. And that makes sense. Why couldn't they have that in the first movie? Or in the second movie? Why couldn't they have that interaction between her and Luke and having her train? What was the problem? You know? It's all taken away by whatever The Last Jedi really had going on, which was sad. So again, I mean, it's all there, man. It's all there for what could have been all these missed opportunity. When she does that on the fly without any real difficulty because of the Force dyad, there's no real growth. I agree. There isn't any growth there. because they automatically retconned it and tied it to, okay, yeah, she's connected to Kylo Ren and the Force, so therefore she can do any and everything without any sort of training. That's come on, man. Like, come on, man. But anywho's, like, anywho. So what is the future of New Jedi Order? I don't know. I don't know. What is the future with New Jedi Order? I don't know. What should it be? Don't know. It depends on what Charmin Obey Chinoy means to do with this story, and it depends on what the script is. I hope that I hope that it's a good script. I hope it's a good story with some substance to it, something that'll bring fans back to the theater. I hope. If not, then it's just all going to be hogwash, and people aren't going to buy it. It's just going to be you know. But as it stands, the hype for New Jedi Order really isn't there right now to begin with because of all this controversy, whether it be Daisy Ridley talking about how she felt sick and thought she was the worst thing that ever happened to Star Wars, which whether she believes that or not, trust me, it was not you. You are not the worst thing to happen to Star Wars. Um, that would be Ryan Johnson. Uh, or whether you just talk about, regardless of quality, Rey training a new generation of Jedi is still connected to her story. It's true. That is true. Which doesn't work for fans or audiences. I don't think I want it to work. I want it to work because there are things that they can do to make Rey a better character. Will it work? I don't know. I don't know because they've already done so much to, and I understand everybody's perspective, but the audience is still split. So even if you have one half of the audience show up for New Jedi Order, you still have the other half that's just like, yeah, we're not going to see this. We're not. But then again, it's Star Wars. Do you really think that fans are going to let a Star Wars film flop, in theaters? Outside of Han Solo, which didn't really have the marketing, but that's not that one doesn't count. But are they really going to let another Star Wars movie flop in theaters, even if it is Rey and the New Jedi Order? Like, I have a hard time thinking that people are not going to show up for this movie. I have a really hard time thinking that people are not going to show up for this film. Honestly, a good idea for Rey in these new movies is to just give her Jake's arc and TLJ. Commit to these new traditions. No, 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 no. We can't go tit for tat now. We can't go do that. Nah, if they're not, don't come back with the whole "woe is me, sad Jedi" thing and the Jedi must end. No, you can't do that again. That was a one-off thing. They can't do that again. If they come back with Rey doing that, bro, if they make this movie and we come back all these years later and Rey has not done anything to push the Jedi forward or done anything to establish or train a new generation of Jedi, bro, that would be the end of Disney Star Wars as you know it. Outside of maybe Ahsoka season 2 and the Mandalorian stuff, that would be the end of Star Wars as you know it. If they for movies, because you just done messed up. Like, come on, that'd be so wild. That would be so freaking wild if they did that. Yeah, we are 24 minutes to the hour. Uh, 24 on the stream so far. I hope everyone is doing well on this great Tuesday. We are talking Rey and the new Jedi Order. Hop in the comments. Hop in the comments. Talk, talk, talk. Discuss. What do you guys think of all this news? Apparently, there's a rumor going around saying that the new Jedi Order movie has been delayed. So I don't know how true that is. I don't know whose source that is. I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm not going to say that as a fact until somebody else confirm something, but uh, I don't. Man, I don't know. I don't think people would bat an eye if the new Jedi Order movie was in delay. You know, if it was delayed, I mean, filming's supposed to start this year. I think, right? For a new Jedi Order, it's supposed to start this year. If it does, then cool. If not, then I understand. I mean, take your time by all means with this story. I don't think Star Wars fans are going to be going anywhere anytime. So, I mean, take your time by all means. Take your time with the story. At least come back with something that'll make people think Rey isn't that bad or is a better character than she once was in the sequels. So do that. At least do that. If you're gonna take your time with it, do that. But yeah, uh craziness, man. Craziness. All across. I'm seeing so much vitriol, so much of everything across the Twitter timeline. Everyone's going crazy about takes on Ray, just these hot takes, clout takes I like to call them. Clout takes really, because they're just illogical takes that make no sense. And I'm like, why respond? Why respond anyway? Don't do it. Don't respond. I'm willing to bet that there are some people out there who can make a fan fiction of 7, 8, and 9 and Ray's story and probably do it better. They've already done it with the AI and what if the sequel trilogy was actually awesome or whatever. They've already done that. But I mean, I tell you one thing I will be seeing in theaters, I will not miss is the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. That I will not miss out on in theaters. I have to be there for that. I have to be there for that. I can't miss out on that. That is the Mandalorian has really been the stronghold of Star Wars the past 5, 10 years. It's really been the anchor point of Star Wars. It's been that thing that's like, oh, that's what put Star Wars on the map, and it's and it's actually good. So I don't find it impossible for anyone to like Ray. She has a very small fan base that could grow over time, but they were too quick to make a Ray movie. You think they wait? You think it's too late? You think they wait? I mean, they think it's too early to make a Ray movie? Have the wounds of the sequel trilogy not healed? You don't think? You don't think the wounds of the sequel trilogy have healed enough for that to happen? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they were too quick to make a Ray movie because I'm like, you got to let this sit for a while. You know what I'm saying? You got to let it sit for a while. I'm still waiting on the Renaissance. It has technically been 7 or 8 years since TFA, but Ray is more rejected than accepted by fans. Yeah, in that regard, true. It's only been like 8 years, so almost a decade since TFA. Hard to believe it's been a decade since The Force Awakens. So crazy. So crazy. Hard to believe. Hard to believe it's been 7 to 8 years since then. Shout out to everyone on Facebook. Shout out to my Facebook people. Shout out to the YouTube audience and everyone on X too. Shout out to you guys as well. You guys are freaking awesome. Shout out to you guys. But yeah, we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see, and we're gonna keep riding it out to see what happens with Ray and what happens to see what other news can happen across from here. We're gonna find out because I think we have to see where this goes from here because if they can do it, then that'd be great. And unlike the prequels, the sequels don't have the same type of quality merchandise and side projects to make it more accepted. Yeah, I mean that's true. Plus, the sequels didn't have George Lucas, so you know when it comes to George and the prequels, man, I'll leave it at that. I'm like, if you want to argue about the prequels, bro, go talk to George. George is the man, and I'm not gonna argue with George. George made those films, and they're awesome, and I don't care what anybody says. So people can argue about that all day, all the live long day. But we are 30 minutes to the hour, man. It is now 11 o'clock, and I'm going to time out on this one. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you, Dan, for tuning in. Thank you, bro. I'm gonna get you on. I'm gonna DM you, and we're gonna schedule a time so that you can come on the live, man. Because I want to have more of you guys on, more of the guests on, more of the people in the community that I talk to, man. You guys are awesome. So yeah, thank you guys for joining in on this live, and I'll be back tomorrow. So I will catch you guys later. You guys have a wonderful and awesome Tuesday, and be blessed. Peace.